Really
Hey,
not a
Brian.
concrete wall behind him or a satin sheet.
Hey, Brian. We're really live. We're live right
Sweet.
now. We are
Yes.
live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Real and Raw Show. And this is really a real and raw show. And if you ask me, you'll know really why it's real and raw. And today we're going to talk about life on your terms and create the life you want. And again, it's going to be really interesting. So stay tuned, you guys. You don't want to miss this. Hey, welcome back to the Real and Raw Show. This is Lynn Serrano, and you are?
I'm Brian Kelm. Happy to be here.
I know you are. And so am I.
I love when Lynn says, "Hey, we're live," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, then let's go with it."
we are so live, and we are so live that I love last week, which is the first of the new year. Yeah, blah 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 blah. That last week you said, Lynn, and I love that you never know what I'm going to do on the show, right?
Love it.
You won't,
Bring it.
I always just say show up, and you show up, right?
Yep.
Right? Okay. So
I'm Brian's cousin. I'm really not Brian.
So what I want you to do really quick is I think it's important because today's topic. Hi, Ava. Thanks for being here, and thank you for being here. Yeah, Sandra's catching us live. I love that she's catching us live. So listen, as you see here, we've got live life on your terms. Now, the reason why we picked that, I need you to catch everyone up on last week. What happened last week? Give us a recap, would you please?
Sure.
What happened last week?
Weaknesses are nothing
no,
more than self.
Huh? How did last week go? What recap? What happened last week? What happened last week?
Can you give me a little?
You picked the topic, right?
Yeah.
And then when you picked the topic, what happened? I kind of was interviewing you, and then what happened?
And then it was just kind of like I'm going to take whatever that is and just remove it from your view. That really what it is not what it is.
And then you went ahead and did something like what? So it inspired this, right?
Oh my God! Look at that facial hair! Holy schmoly!
Okay, so you want to explain this picture and how we got here?
Sure. So Lynn kicked my butt like normal, and it was in a good way. It always is. Is that she demystified to me what weaknesses really are, and it ties into this book right here, and it ties into the 40 years of training in NLP and all of his studies and all of his courses, Mr. Rex Sikes. And Lynn told me, we got, if we're going to pursue some of this stuff and really be aligned, if you will, there he is. If we're going to be aligned, I had a feeling he was going to be here.
Because you know how Lynn rolls, right?
you roll with surprises left and right all the time. So, but I knew that I had, if we're going to be in alignment moving forward, is that there has to be a baseline, and that baseline is these teachings. So, hi Rex, nice to see you.
Brian, good to see you. Thanks so much for the photo of you in the book, and all those notes you're taking.
Oh yeah. I'm on page 23 of the book, and I've already got.
Wow.
You guys, if you don't know this man that I've become so fond of, that I so truly love, this man, the one and only Rex Sikes. Thank you first and foremost. This was at the last minute. I asked him. I didn't expect him to be here, and I truly was going to go with just you and I doing the book. I did not know that this was going to happen, and when he said that we can make this happen, I never know if anybody can help me make me look good on my show, but they do. And I'm so always thankful for that. And I'm getting known for the things that I do on my show, but it's a collaborative thing. So I'm blessed. It's not about me. It's about all of us doing these things. So Rex, thank you for being a part of my creative mind. And I just love you dearly. And I want to help change the world with you, because you are just an amazing guy. And I can't emphasize this clubhouse, you guys. We've got a small community there. He faithfully 7 days a week. We've got moderators there that are there every morning to just fill you in with energy and to see life in a different perspective. And I encourage everybody. And Rex and Tim can tell you that I have personally been promoting this book. Have I not, Tim? I mean, like if you're going to be around me, and you don't have to live by what he's saying, but if you're going to be around me and you want to understand where I'm going and the way I'm choosing to live my life, at least understand and read this book and go on with your life. That's fine. But I just want you at least to know what planet I'm on, and it has Rex Sikes in it. So Rex, thank you so much for being here. And I'd like to pick up in the conversation that we had last week. And I'm just new in this too. So, you can correct me in anything I said in last week's interview, but I wanted Brian to know that his limiting beliefs as far as feeling that you have to cope with being worried. And well, you saw the interview last week. What would you like to correct or say on behalf of the word worriness and going forward? Because you're the man with the wisdom here. So the floor is yours, sir.
You're talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
She's handing over the gavel. The gavel.
Yes.
No, wait a second. If I do this, I'm looking at Lynn, and if I do this, I'm looking at Brian.
Yeah.
Hi, Lynn. Or hi, Brian. Hi, Lynn.
Let's see here. Where are we looking at? Hi, Rex.
You're figuring out the angles. That is not uncommon. We all come from a place where we pretty much learned that we are supposed to repair ourselves. It's part of the Western mind conditioning. It's part of the medical model. I mean, when you think about Western medicine, it's great at repair. They can fix a bone really good. They're not really that good at promoting health, through wellness, healthy practices and nutrition and things like that. But they certainly, if there's a crisis situation, they can, come and try and resolve, a situation. That's why we have EMTs and people who show up, first responders who are there to help preserve lives and repair whatever damage is done. So it's not uncommon. I mean, I come from the same place. We all do. I mean, there are very few of us who don't. So, but it is a shift from I have to go back and fix myself or repair myself or resolve these things to saying, you really don't. I mean, when you think about it, all you really need to do is shift and turn in a new direction. In fact, if you like the Bible, and I love to quote the Bible, I don't care how what regard you hold it in. Some believe it's divinely inspired. Other people believe it's a nice book. That said, there's some great things in it. And whenever Jesus was doing a miracle or healing, he would say things like, repent, go and sin no more, and your faith has made you whole. You've been healed. He didn't say, go back and dig through your past and undo everything you've ever done and work and toil and make those changes. And then I'll forgive you. And then you'll be changed. He would say, just repent means to turn. It literally means to turn away from and do that no more. So when we think of repentance, we think, oh, I'm sorry. That's not repentance. That's being, sad that we did something wrong. Repentance means I promise I'm never going to do that again. I've changed my life. I've changed my mind, and I'm now moving in a new direction. Kind of like when you realize you're driving down the road in the wrong way, you turn around and go back the other way. You don't sit there and go, let me go deeper into the way I'm going wrong before I turn around. So the moment that we become aware that we can turn around, that's that opportunity. Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of people promote going back and undoing things and digging through crap and digging through wounds and digging. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. Any one of us, I've done it. I've done it in my past. I've done all sorts of different kinds of forms of therapy and chaotic transformation practices. But the point is you don't. Once you make the turn, it's going to come up for you anyway. The second you take that first step, that's when the doubts and the fears and the anxieties and the, all that other stuff starts coming up. You go, if you decide you're going to change your life tomorrow and you go, I've lived for myself, now I'm going to live for other people. Then suddenly a person goes, well, can I, should I don't know if I can do this. All that stuff comes up. That's when you can address it. And how do you address it? I mean, not you, but all of us, let it go. Repent and do it no more. recognize it, release it, become aware of it, and you'll have another opportunity, because it's not just one thing that's going to come up. It's the conditioning that we've had. Arnold Schwarzenegger's body is a conditioning process. It didn't come from a magic wand. It didn't come from one push-up or one vitamin pill. It came from him conditioning himself. But then it's a matter of staying in that condition and maintaining that condition. So think about how, what you would have to do to undo an Arnold Schwarzenegger body. You could do nothing. You could overeat, you could oversleep, you could overdrink, you could be worried, that kind of thing. But you'd be conditioning in the other area. So I just tell people, celebrate yourself, celebrate life, love life, and move in the direction you want to move in. And when you do that, then you start picking up all the good things. So as you know, those of you who dog shit or diamonds.
Dog shit or diamond. He has no idea that concept, but he will here soon. I love it.
It's a choice. And some people choose dog shit, and I prefer diamonds. So it's whatever anybody chooses. And we've all been there. I've chosen dog shit in my past, and sometimes I still do, because I don't realize that I could be choosing diamonds instead. So, it's a beautiful opportunity to just release. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn the mic over, because I'm talking a long time here.
Nobody's stopping you.
The idea that you have to resolve all your past. Imagine if you were a baby from the time you were born, if you wore every single piece of clothing you ever wore in your entire life, that you had to carry that with you. You wouldn't be able to move right now. You'd have every diaper, every nap, whatever it is, what are the snap-on things, every footed little pair of pajamas, all the clothes, all the shorts, all the t-shirts, all the dresses, all the whatever. If you dragged all that stuff with you till today, you'd be imprisoned in your clothing. And that's what most psychologists want us to think, that's what we are, that we've dragged all this stuff with us.
Rex.
The only way to be free is to take it off one item at a time.
Rex, you're making me laugh. Now that I got diagnosed with lipedema, it's the same damn thing. And I'll be talking about that in shows to come. And I'm just laughing because lipedema, it doesn't matter my diet or exercise. It's fat pockets. And Ava could tell you about that, but I'm just laughing because it's just like the same damn thing. I get you. And I'm not a prisoner no more. Thank heavens they got a thing called liposuction that I'm working on figuring out. So yeah, again, when you figure out the keys, you're never stuck in prison in anything. It's just a matter of finding the right keys and the right things and releasing it and letting go, And
I would say this, that your body your body has its own wisdom. If you scratch yourself, it's going to heal. It knows how to heal. But sometimes what happens is we interfere with the healing process, or we do things that, don't. So I'd be going healthy cells, healthy cells.
Exactly. And healthy mind. Exactly. Healthy mind. Absolutely. So again, that's why I'm so grateful that
I dispense medical advice.
Well, right. But exactly. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I love that not only have you done a book, but the fact that you're starting to build a community, and we're going to have more information in the next few weeks, that you're going to have that home course, and then you're building a community where all like-minded.
Let me stop you. I've been building a community for 40 years.
Right.
What we are doing now is updating it for Clubhouse and other new online avenues that.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, but I mean, the community is there. The people, the entire 8 billion people belong to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. We're still,
and some of them know it, and have yet to discover that. So,
and some of it have taken your stuff and made, taken it and made it their own, and never giving you credit for it. And who cares about that either? If everybody's hearing it and hearing it, and they realize that we're dealing with the direct from the master, that's all that matters. And I don't mean the master, but you know what I'm talking about.
No, it's been,
you're a humble guy.
But it's been heralded since the dawn of humankind, since people first began to write. Prior to that, it was oral tradition. I'm not really saying anything new. I'm saying it in a unique voice, and it's coming through me. And so I'm offering it in essentially a particular fashion. I think of it as the wisdom of the ages. I stand with and on the shoulders of ancient mystics and thought leaders who've been around forever. And that said, I also feel that part of my mission is to simplify and to correct and to cut through all the BS that's been out there, because especially since the internet, there's been this proliferation of just bad. When I say bad, I take that for what I mean. Anything can be a blessing or curse depending on how you want to look at it. So anything bad can be an opportunity, and anything good could be not so good for you. Too much of a good thing might be a bad thing, right? So all I'm trying to say is that it's far easier and far more available to people than they realize. And since the internet came along, anyone who's read a book in personal development suddenly has become a master at personal development, or this, that, and the other thing, and they hang out shingles with or without credentials, or they get phony credentials, or legitimate credentials, because some of the people you don't want to listen to are experts, and some of the people you do want to listen to are experts. But what I'm getting at is it's hard for people to sift through all of that. People don't know what to believe. For example, on Facebook, half of this stuff is it's stuff that they'll say, "Hey, look at this," and they'll quote somebody who never made the quote, and you don't know it because it's attached to a picture. I don't know it. I have to sometimes go, "Did they really say that?" And then there's people. So it's just trying to cut through all the crap, essentially. And again, it's not crap, because anything can be useful. But I'm trying to simplify it for people and to point them to the easy way, as opposed to having them, if I could show you how to get to Chicago with a fun, enjoyable, quick kind of ride, rather than a long, arduous trip around the sun to do that, that's what I want to do.
And Rex, I know you have another meeting to go to, and we're going to cut this pretty short here. And that I know we're going to keep a lot of people guessing of all the different things we're going to do together. But the fact that you took time here, and I just wanted people to, I'm just so grateful that you're here, and I'm just going to keep plugging this away.
Two things. I'm thrilled. I was absolutely delighted to see that photo of Brian with the book. I'm happy that you got the book, Brian. I'm happy to know you. Brian surprised me on your show a while back, and that was a true delight and an awesome thing. And we only live about 20 minutes from each other, and because of COVID, we're not able to get together. But we will.
Yep.
We will.
Yep. Yeah. And I know what Brian, he's going to be such a great student, because he's going to absorb everything, and he's going to learn a lot of things, and he's going to come back with some really great things. And I just already know that he's going to be he's going to shine, because he has the answers. Because last week, the way he answered his questions, I knew he was like right there. Like I knew, even though he had the topic, it was like, oh my gosh. So I turned it around on him, but he was just like right there. So we have so many people saying some really great things there.
Let me add this to what you said, because I think I learned from you, and I learned from Brian. I've said it's probably on my audio recordings and in different classes, but the difference between online learning and and COVID is that I have always said that I'm the luckiest person in a training room, because I'm one guy who gets to sit in front of 10, 20, 30, couple hundred people, whatever it might be, and learn from them while I present some information back to them and give them exercises and practices and principles. But there are people who do things and have experiences and who know things that I could never know. And I get to sit and have breakfast with them or lunch with them. I get to interact with them. I get to answer questions. I get to question them. One of the most beautiful experiences I had was an Orthodox rabbi came to my programs, because, he said, you're doing God's work. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, a lot of people don't realize that the injunction in our faith from God, the command is to better yourself. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, I don't get a whole lot of Orthodox Jews because of the Sabbath. And he goes, see, they don't understand the commandment of God is to better yourself. So being in your workshop on the Sabbath is God's work. He said, we can't be on film at that point, or we can't, interact with light switches and electronics and that, but we can be. And suddenly I had this influx of Orthodox Jewish people coming into my workshops, because they now had permission to attend, which according to him, they always didn't know it. I certainly didn't know it. And I would say, don't you live by a lot of rules? And he'd say, look at it this way: this is the box, that you think is restrictive. I go, this is the box where all the goodies are. So I get to live from all the goodies. I'm like, wow, what a beautiful way to think about life. So I learned from you. I learned from Brian. I learned from everybody that I get to interact with. And it's a little bit different if it's a recorded program. That's why I like to do live Q&As and live sessions and live Zooms and things like that, because I want to be party to the community too, not just be somebody in front of the community.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like I don't even remember if you remember the books Amelia Bedelia. I'm a literal girl, like I am Pollyanna. I'm like if you say something a certain way, I visualize it the way you say it, or I take things literal sometimes. So that's why I love the fact that a book, if I take it literal, you kind of sometimes have to explain what it really means, because I'll take it literal, and books don't pop out at you. You need more explanation than what's on the books. That's why he's already got so many notes just on page 26 for you. Like,
Yep.
Well, I'm just going to say it demonstrates the kind of people that you are, because there are some people who read a book to get done with it and then go, I've read the book, and then they never do anything with it. But if you take notes and you make a study of it and you work it, you both are forces of nature, and I'm proud and privileged and honored to know you and to be here to celebrate Brian and to celebrate Brian getting my book. That sounds so weird, but thank you.
And Michael,
Brian, I've been doing all the talking, so let me shut up.
Yeah, and Michael got your book too.
Yeah.
I gifted Michael the book, and I was going to get a picture of Michael, and Laura's not here, but I do have a few other people that are going to get pictures of the books that are my friends for you, and that was going to be my gift to you today, Rex. I didn't get that, but that is my gift.
And thank you. And anybody who has the book, please rate and review it at Amazon. That really makes a difference for Amazon. So please go ahead and do that. But and I love the photos, and thank you so much. And let me be quiet and hear from Brian.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, now that we surprised him and everything, Brian. Yes, your words, my friend.
I'm just still reeling from last week where I thought about it several times. I'm still reeling where to live with excuses and blame and all that is not something I'm about. But as I was sharing, and it's like, okay, your weaknesses are a self-limiting belief, and obviously only on page 23 right now, that thoughts become beliefs over time, and through living life. And so I'm still marinating in that, right? One of my degrees is in psychology. So it's unwiring all of that from a standpoint. And it's like, one word that I gravitate towards that you just said, Rex, is simplification or simplify. And we don't need more of society and more of everything that we've been wired with and what society wants to do to shape us how to think and whatever. There's a lot of stuff to get rid of or to just let go. And I need to let stuff go, right? Because living in the past is one of my self-limiting beliefs. So I'm still reeling from that, but just on page 23, I feel at peace, and I'm going to continue to do the work and read and everything. So
I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud of you, because I just always have that passion of when I see people in pain, I'm always like, but you don't need to be in the pain. I'm giving you the tool that you need. And that's one of the things that's so disheartening is being a coach, that, they're asking for the teacher and the teacher's here and I'm doing the jumping jacks and I can't help them. And I feel that that's why I'm like, I don't need to talk here, just this book. And if you can't at least do this book. And like I said, Brian, I would beg you to, and I would say that go back and listen to his video before you go forward, because that course will also help you loosen and you will get even more. And I told Michael, it's like, you really need to listen to that video, to that course. It gives you nuggets in there. You won't be doing yourself justice. Like I don't need to work hard anymore as a coach to tell people. I want to help them and coach them and refer to this, because I think that's one of my problems is my heart hurts for people that don't understand where they're lost. And I see where they're lost, but it's because I've been driving so long that I don't know how to tell people that they need to look in the rearview mirror, because I take that for granted. This book tells them to look in the rearview mirror and the things they need to do. And so the fact that you took it upon yourself and got that book and you took notes, my heart is happy. My heart is happy. And you need to be in the clubhouse and that kind of thing. And if people can't take those little instructions, then I know that they're not ready for the journey for themselves. And that's okay. That's okay. But I just know that I can't help them if they can't help themselves is all I'm saying. Yeah. And I respect that. That's, that's all.
Yeah, it's amazing how much, if we're not complete with our past or whatever, no matter if we know it's there or we're in tune with it, without even realizing, and those are blind spots. We all have them. But communicating things, that are in the past, I guess, is something I do frequently, and it blows me away when it actually happens, because I thought that things that I thought were complete are not complete because they keep showing up again. So.
Well, I guess one of the ways to think about it is if you don't learn from the past, it's bound to repeat itself. I mean, history repeats in that regard. But to learn from the past doesn't mean you have to carry the past. It doesn't mean you have to sift through it. It means that when it's going on is the time to learn from it. Yeah. You could, rather than going back, because, life is forward moving. Life doesn't grow in reverse. Right. We're a plant doesn't grow smaller. It grows larger. It grows towards the sun. And that, I think, is the way we're supposed to be. Psychology's done us an incredible service. My background is in the anthropology, psychology, sociology, and communication, which I ultimately majored in communication. But I love the studies, and it's done a beautiful service. William James said, human beings can. A long time ago said, human beings can change themselves by having the right attitude, and Julian James said, consciousness is like a flashlight. It depends on where you aim it in terms of what you see. And it's created such and Emerson said, a man or a person is what he or she is thinking all day long. So thoughts become things, and what you focus on, you get. So somewhere in there, psychology for me, it seemed to take a turn south and go, okay, let's focus on all the broken, kind of like let's mend all the broken arms. And you do have to, I think that the way we understand the world is, and it's through placebo studies almost more than anything else. Placebo's not the placebo pill, the item, but the effect. Because the effect is what we're talking about, not the individual tablet or amulet or whatever. The placebo study says if you believe something to be the case, it most likely is the case. So if you believe something will help you, it will help you. And if you believe something won't help you, or the nocebo effect, it won't help you. And they've demonstrated this again and again in literally thousands and thousands and thousands of studies now. So here's the interesting thing. If it's true that you believe one way or the other way, it determines the results that you get, then it's also true that everything that you're doing really is based on belief, because you can't separate the placebo effect from the medicine or the doctor or the procedure or the practice that's applied. What they've discovered with the placebo effect is if the doctor thinks it'll help you, then you're more likely to believe it will help you, because we have these things called mirror neurons, and we have rapport, and we believe in expert advice and all that kind of stuff. So the doctor thinks it's going to help you, even if it's inert, even if it's a placebo and the doctor doesn't know it, that adds to your ability to believe it. And we know that placebos work at least, I don't want to go into the whole thing, but as much of the time, almost all of the medicine, any medicine that anyone takes is accompanied by the placebo effect or the nocebo effect. So they can't be separated. I will do the one study very quickly, and that was on biceps, because it's a very easy one to understand. They've done piano studies, they've done basketball studies, and all, but they literally had people lift a dumbbell, do curls for like a week, and then they measured their strength gain in that week. Another group did nothing. They weren't told to do anything. They were just a control group who got no instructions. And then the last group was to not do any weightlifting, but only to visualize lifting the dumbbell. The first group improved 35%. They actually they had a 35% increase in muscle growth or size. The group that did nothing had 0. but the ones who only visualized had 13%.
Wow.
Now, some people say, well, 35% obviously is far more than 13, but they did nothing but visualize it. I mean, they just sat in their chair and went, I'm lifting a dumbbell in my mind, and they imagined lifting the dumbbell.
Oh.
So if you think something's going to be a benefit, it will. If you think it's not going to be a benefit, it may not be, right? This is what we get. So what does that say about having to dig through our crap? If we believe we have to do it, then we probably have to do it. If we believe we don't have to do it, we probably don't have to do it. Where we got this idea that these things are hiding in our body and in our muscles and in our energy blocks and in all that, and they're waiting to rear their ugly head if we're not paying attention, is anybody's guess. Because there are some people who believe that, and then they have those practices and or they have those experiences as well. And then there are other people who don't believe that, and they don't seem to have those experiences. So I guess it's a dog, shit, or diamonds. Choose what you want to believe.
Yeah.
And as long as it serves you and you're happy, go for it.
Yeah. We had last night with Ken and our Grow Live Academy, we had Rami for 2 hours. And he was even, yeah. And of course, I think Brian can agree that, the Think and Grow Rich, his book, and again, what he said last night is in correlation, like what you said, he let go. And I asked him the question last night. He let go when he failed and he decided to go back and achieve everything. He didn't dwell on what he did in the past. He just went ahead and he did what he had to do. He dropped it. He let it go. And he did. He had the principles like you teach and like you just said. So again, it's just like you said, and it, it just confirms to me I'm in the right company, and I like that, and I want that reinforcement.
You think you are.
Yeah, and I'm going with it. Exactly. Your point, my point, and everybody that's watching's point. Exactly. We've got some really great things being said here. Exactly. We have to stop saying, I have to do this and get things done, and it really is great. I'm really excited for everyone that and like I said, you're not only just paying for this book, but you're getting a free course with nuggets. Even if you don't read the book, if you take any courses, if you want to learn anything in life, he gives you nuggets of how to know that you don't know everything, but be open to learn something and get a different perspective. That alone is wisdom. You only have to listen to it. And then I can't even tell you about the accelerated program, the activator. It's just amazing. Oh, my cousin's, and he's speaking Spanish here right now, so I'm not gonna but Dios te bendiga, and I love you, my cousin. He's very successful billionaire, so he's an amazing guy. But I love you, my cousin. But seriously, I'm just very, very grateful, Rex, that you we need to get this book in Spanish. That's what we need to do. That's probably what he's telling me over there.
Translated into a bunch of different languages. I had somebody from Hong Kong, China, wanted to.
Wow.
We're gonna have to work on that next.
The translation for the books, but I still want to hear more from Brian too.
Yes, Brian.
No, I'm fascinated about where this is all going. Simplicity is there's businesses that have made billions. Their brand is simplicity, right? And we don't need no more stuff in our brains. You know what I mean? Like one of my biggest mentors, Jeffrey Gitomer, says, if you want to learn something, read something over 100 years old, right? Yeah. Because there's no fluff, there's no noise. It's just what was. And I think that for me, I've always been a person
marketing in it.
Correct.
Seriously, because you read some books today and every page has their brand on it. If you want to learn, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to. Yeah. So, that's stellar advice. I always put people back 100 years at least for most part, like Napoleon Hill or beyond. Yeah, keep going, Brian. That's great.
It's just I've always been fascinated, what life could be like, from a simplistic standpoint. Obviously, our brain is on autopilot; it's going to do what it's going to do. But for me in the life that I've lived, it's always been one of distinction, one of differentiation, one of I'm carving out my own path. I'm going to do it my own way, and I'm not going to have any regret about where I'm going. If it makes sense to me, it makes sense to my heart and my gut, I'm going to do it. And, to just do that and fully commit without if it's not for others, that's okay. But the neuroscience of things has always been in my wheelhouse. It always has been ever since my undergrad. And so anything to make my life more fulfilled, simple, and for me to really define what it is that makes me tick, and what fulfillment looks like, what passion looks like, what a loving life looks like. I mean, is deep, but I'm kind of a deep person. I want to go deep into the understanding of it. But also, though, you can always, you're always thinking or taking actions at all times, right? One leads to the other in the first 23 pages, but it's like I'm fully gravitated on the thinking, or excuse me, the actions, right? Take action. You'll never regret it.
I don't know if you got to the part in the book yet, but it talks about how your subconscious mind is always, always thinking and always whatever, and making your conscious mind program your subconscious mind. It's so powerful. I'm just like, wow, my conscious mind can control my subconscious mind to be on autopilot. Like that right there was like, I'm listening. I pay attention. I love that.
Well, it's an amazing thing. From all indications, all brain research that we have available to us, we know that the subconscious mind is a servant, and it only says yes. It can do nothing but fulfill the processes that it's learned or conditioned to do. So it doesn't judge, it doesn't evaluate, it doesn't like you or not like you. It's none of that. It's designed to serve you by keeping you alive and keeping danger away from you and keeping you consistent. And it's based on streamlining some processes. That's what stereotyping is all about. It just means it gets quick. We have a pejorative form of stereotyping, but the idea is you stereotype all classes of things to sit on, and you can recognize chairs or sofas or couches or stools as the class of things to sit on. So the brain does that, so you don't have to learn how to do that over and over again every day, or it's designed to conserve energy. And then the conscious mind has separate tasks. It can remember, it can memorize, it can, pay attention to intuition, it can plan and that kind of. So if you look at Napoleon Hill or any of those books 100 years ago, what they tell you is that the subconscious mind carries all of these things out. Now we know it's literally trillions of times more powerful than the conscious mind. It's just the amount of connections it can make and the kinds of things it can do. I mean, we are, here's where science goes awry. People for a long time have been saying we use 5 or 10% of our brain or our potential. And then people come along and go, well, that's not true. You use your whole brain. You go, who the heck cares what they're talking about? It's the potential you have to use. Of course you use your whole brain. It's like saying my whole body, half of my body isn't alive. Well, it is, of course, alive, right? But even if I'm a quadriplegic, I'm still alive. But, so they get into these silly arguments. The brain is designed to serve you, but the conscious mind is designed to program that brain. And sadly, which is true of all of us, from 0 to about 7 or 8 years old, we're just conditioned by the forces around us, the primary care people, peers, media, the whole thing, going on since the dawn of humankind. But at one time, it was simpler. There wasn't all the competing stuff. So now you've got this 7 or 8 year old child starting, primary school, and one kid wants to run around and play and do all these things, and they go sit down, and if they don't sit down and if they fidget, then they drug them. I mean, that's control. That's just to control them for the classroom. We do train them to have a limited attention span through all of our media and through, fast cuts and music cutting on the beat and things like that. And then when they don't have an attention span, we go, well, see, they need to be drugged. And I mean, it kind of gets crazy. So the fascinating thing is that children, you learn more in your lifetime as a child than anywhere else in your lifetime. And you didn't read a book, you didn't sit in a classroom, you didn't do any of that. You were out playing and rolling around and doing somersaults and chasing butterflies, and being reprimanded and everything else. And then at some point you were told, stop imagining, take it seriously, sit down, get a job, be an adult, act your age, do all these things. And that's what we then live from the rest of our lives, because we absorb that.
Yep.
So as an adult, my mission is to get people to be kids again. Go back and learn with fun and enjoyment and understand that the world is this fabulous place, just like it was when you were a kid, except you've stopped seeing it that way because all you're focused on is all those things they kept repeating that you had to focus on. Take it seriously.
I'm sorry, Rex. I'm excited. My friend Carrie in New York, she just bought your book. I'm so
Oh,
excited. I'm so excited, Carrie. And I'll show you guys. I'll show you, message me or whatever. I'll show you where to make sure that you get your free course that he gives you. And Mark Gasser, thank you for being here. He wrote here, Brian, do you want to read this real quick?
Sure. Love the Professor Harold Hill from the Music Man mentality, where you can implement the infamous think system when doing an arm curl with a weight. Fat asses like me must put in that work regarding health and fitness.
So, well, and to add to Mark's point, you can substitute sitting on a couch and mentally doing the exercises, but the gains were 13% compared to 35%. The point is that if you the other studies show that if you combine them, so guess what? This goes back to the Joe Weider days, the 60s of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dave Draper and Frank. They were all taught, yes, to do this stuff. But if you read muscle magazines and muscle builder magazines, which I did when I was a kid, they all said visualize it, imagine your muscle growing, look in the mirror, see the body that you want, pose, and all that kind of stuff, because you're shaping your mind and then shaping your body. So if you have this ideal image in your head, your body can conform to it. If you don't have any image in your mind, or you think of yourself as a potato on a couch, then that's what it will be. Now you could sit.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to add that you mentioned in the room today about it's the resistance that's the problem. If you want to bring that up in your conversation, mesh it with what you're saying right now. I think you can mesh it with the same thing.
Well, you can, but I'm just, yes. Okay. Well, the idea, my version is this: you're already perfect, and you have all the resources in you to make any change that you want to make, and your potential is infinite, and energy can't be transformed. I mean, it can't be changed. It can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed, and energy, as we know it through physics, is equally distributed here and there, everywhere, evenly, past, present, future. So you're already the change that you want to be. The difference is that that's invisible. It's within you, like the inside of an onion. You just release the layers and come to your true self. Okay, you accept it first, and you live from the feeling of the wish fulfilled or the life fulfilled, and then it unfolds for you. But what people do is they fight that. They resist it. They no, it can't be that easy, or it can't be that, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And they create more pain and struggle than they would otherwise have to. So if you just let go and you invite and you welcome, then you have a greater chance, a greater opportunity, and a whole lot more fun making the changes in your life, because your energy is all moving in one direction as opposed to resisting moving. But that said, so that they also understand, the notion of lifting a dumbbell is there is resistance to lifting the dumbbell, which creates the muscle growth. The reason why the visualization works is that when you visualize it, you are making micro muscle movements, the same movements you would as if you were lifting the weight. You just aren't lifting the actual weight. So there isn't the same amount of resistance or growth when you do that, but you are using the same muscle groups. So there's improvement through visualization.
And the reason why I brought that up too, and thank you for saying that, Rex, is because also it's that self-talk that we talk about. And I do that. And I think that can change ourselves too. And talking and not using the words that you use there about yourself can also help with that. And that's something I've been working about lately too. So that's why I figured that by you meshing what you just said about us being perfect, and we realize that, and we're shedding those limiting beliefs, I think that that's where the world needs to start with themselves to feel better about where they're at. And that's where we start getting a better percentage in getting to the place we want to be faster by peeling those different things that are, like you said, all the clothes that we wore since we were born till now. We got to shed those layers.
Well, on top of it, let me ask you this. Have you ever been a guest in somebody's car and they turn on a video and it's just music that you hate?
Yeah.
And they play it and you're like, oh God, turn that off. And they won't. They love it.
Yeah.
Well, so I liken our experience on Earth to, this is a relatively well-traveled rental vehicle that I have while I'm here. I'm not my body. I'm whatever inhabits the body. So I have this rental vehicle, and then it's like the radio is tuned to a station that I can't stand, and that's like a lot of our internal dialogue. It's stuff that we just don't like, that's ragging on us, and it's not pleasant. What do you need to do? You turn the channel.
Yep.
You change the station. You tune into something else. The best way to fall asleep, have anyone, and maybe your viewers, if you've watched a scary movie at nighttime and you can't go to bed, some people do that. They watch something and then they go, oh my God, I can't sleep. I'm too frightened. Well, think about this. If when you were a child, you thought that there was a ghost or in the closet or under the bed, and you hid under the blankets, though there was no ghost in theory, right? You still responded as if there was one. Your heart beat, you sweat, you got nervous, you got scared, you were frightened. The whole thing, everything goes on in your body. You're squirting those chemicals and hormones because you believe that there's a ghost in the closet or under the bed. Your parents come in, they show you there's no ghost, and you go, one or two things happen, and you either go, oh, okay, no ghost, and now you go back to, quote, normal, and have none of those symptoms, or the minute they leave, they go, the ghost is back, and you get scared all over again. And then they come back in and go, see, it's not there. And they go, yeah, but when you're here, it's not there, but it's there when I'm, So the thing is that, one, that demonstrates that our thinking that something is true, even though it isn't, affects our physical being. It affects the chemicals that we squirt and the hormones that we squirt, the stress that we have, or the well-being that we have. It's all about what the placebo effect is about, and about programming our mind. But if you're sleeping at night and you can't sleep and you've just watched a terrible, horrible movie, the best way to go to sleep is not to turn off your light and try and sleep, but to go watch a different movie. Go watch a funny movie or a rom-com or something else, so that the last thing you're left with are positive, pleasant thinking thoughts. You can't fight the old by turning it off and going to bed and lying down and thinking it over and over again. So you think something differently. And that's my message all along.
Look, I love this. Thank you, Christopher. Mr. Sikes' views are beyond that, if they are tuned in to you already. Yeah. It's just, it's just, like I said, and I know, Rex, you do need to go. And I
still want to hear from Brian, because
yes.
And you can take me off or whatever, but I still I'll listen in the background or whatever, because I want you, this was your show and you invited me on to surprise Brian, and I've done most of the talking again. So
I know this is what Brian wants. Are you kidding? Brian's going to rewatch this. This is what I know. This is what this kid wants. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm a sponge. I just sit in the background. I mean, because to me, for my mind and my body to be at peace is one of the most priceless things on the planet, right? And to get to a place of where I'm not, because one of my self-limiting beliefs is I'm not good enough, or on the flip side is I'm better than you, right? And I've, obviously it's like any education I can pursue, I can get, I do, to overcome that self-limiting belief. And it's like, once I achieve it, then it's like, oh, why do I still have that belief? Because I got a master's degree, I got this, I got that. And it's like, all of a sudden then it's like, you need to do the work of looking inside, right? Disrupting that. And
because the change won't come from the outside. It won't come from the additions.
Correct. And so for me, when I don't communicate, I'm just internalizing it all, because for me, how I feel and how I view the world, it doesn't get any more fulfilling than that, and, obviously ask any person that has all the money in the world, but they're miserable. What would they pay to have all of their issues, stress, overwhelm, all of that go away?
I had somebody fly me to their house, essentially sit me down and tell me, look, at everything I have, I've created billions of dollars worth of, industry. And then at the end of the day, I'm still me, and it sucks. Yeah. And it's because what they pursued and all the things that they got. This is why Hollywood actors and all these people, they pursue fame, then they get fame and they don't like it. They don't like what happens. They get all these things and the things don't fulfill them. So now they sit in this big mansion with fancy cars and jewelry and all the entourage and everything. And they go, I'm not fulfilled, because the fulfillment is already inside. Yeah. It's already us, and we're looking everywhere else for it. And they don't feel that it's them, because when they look inside, what do they see? They see their hurts and their wounds and all that kind of stuff. So that's where they have to make peace. This is why I say they can release and let go, because to sit there and sift through more of that pain and suffering doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They want to be free of that.
Yeah.
So it again, repent and go and sin no more is is what Jesus always said. Turn, stop doing what you're doing and do the new thing. Go. Your faith has made you whole. I mean, it's beautiful, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I mean, you can go on and on and on, whether it's the Bible or any other religious text or any other science of the mind kind of thing from 100 years ago. It pretty much all say the same thing.
Well,
go ahead.
No, and plus, Rex, I mean, just hearing you talk, I mean, as I mentioned in that surprise video, it's fulfilling. It nurtures my heart just to hear you talk, because I mean, it's complicated. There's a lot to it. And I mean, if we're going to have generations or hundreds of years, I mean, it's not something that's going to be explained in a short period of time. It's a journey, it's a lifestyle, it's everything. It's your foundation as a human being.
Well, science used to think of the brain like a computer. And I always tell people, you don't have a computer in your head. You've got a brain in your head. It's a living organism, and you can fix a computer, but you can't fix the brain the same way, and you can't change processes. But the computer metaphor works in terms of reprogramming or reconditioning. But the brain is really more like a jungle, or you're more like a jungle. We're more like a jungle. We're a living process with all sorts of wonderful things going on. There's some weeds, and there's some beautiful flowers, and there's some trees, and there's some grass, and there's some water, and there's all these things that are going on inside of us, right? And we're a jungle. Learn to appreciate the jungle and not just pay attention to the weeds, because there's all this vastness that's going on, and some people just live with their focus on the weeds. And then you'll get somebody like Tony who'll go, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. As if that's positive thinking. Positive thinking isn't denying that there are weeds. It's saying I can weed my garden. And if I can't, I'll find somebody who can, or I can learn to do it. I am capable. I will manage, I will make my garden beautiful. So it's all within us. And we're just a living process, but we treat ourselves. I mean, that saying that the way we talk to ourselves inside our head, we would never talk to anybody else and get away with it, because but that's how we were taught to talk to ourselves, because we as a sponge, we got all those voices inside, that we heard around us telling us what to do and what not to do and where to pay our attention. So, I always say, grow your inner child up to turn around and say, you know what, I ain't going to do that anymore. I mean, in other words, instead of people talk about their wounded inner child, they go, grow them up, heal that child, and get on with it. And then shrink the child back down and let them play, because that's what we truly want to do. I mean, life is too short to be too serious.
Well, another thing too, I just want to acknowledge Lynn for, being random with our topics at times. And I just love it. But then also though, for her to, the way that she did it last week was just great and awesome. That it's like, hey, I'm not letting you off the hook from a life that I know you want to live and you have access to.
It's good to have a friend.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
You're welcome. And and again, the literal sense of, saying we got weeds. My daughter, she's Amelia Bedelia like I am too. I'd be like, Rex, what do you talk about? I've never smoked weeds. I don't have weed. I never know the weed, So cute. It's all a matter of perception here. But no, seriously, I just know that I would normally let Brian talk or whatever, but I just know he's in shock mode right now. He's just like, I know that Lynn might have done this, but I still can't believe Rex is here and I'm actually talking to Rex and not just in a little video. So I just know how humbled and shocked he's all in one about this. So again, this has just been fantastic having this special. We haven't done an hour in a really long time. And this is just fantastic. All the nuggets you left. I spent a few weeks with you in these rooms and I can't get enough of hearing you say this stuff and drilling it and hearing this. And everybody, you got to get into Clubhouse. It's got an Android and iPhone. Sundays, I'll be in that room with Rex. And I'm telling you, it's just, if anything, these are the little pieces that you're missing in the puzzle that, if you have any questions, Rex is in there willing to answer them. And I just think if anything, you should just listen and have your own opinions, because we all have them. But I think you're going to see that all the pieces to the puzzle are right here. So I'm just excited. I'm just excited because Rex is just the real deal in my book. So I'm let's see. Weed makes me paranoid.
Weed makes you paranoid. Many subscribe to its
Oh,
virtue.
and Carrie says she loves us all. Thank you, Carrie, for watching. And again, this has been. Any last words you want to say, Brian? And then I'm gonna have Rex say some last words here too.
No, my head is just in the clouds right now. Rex, the more I learn about you is that you take a stand for people. Your generosity and authenticity is come through. You connect with everybody, and it's a rare quality these days. Who to believe, who to trust, who's there for a dollar, who's there really to transform lives, and you're there for the latter. So thank you just for everything. And obviously I'm going to work my butt off on your content, your book, and everything you offer. You're probably going to have a customer for life. So
wow. Well, that's very cool. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, or from my entire heart. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. So thank you. And I appreciate Lynn. And here, addressing what you said, and this is why I think I was born. Right, or why I know I was born, but essentially, there are people right now, if you go to Facebook, you can find ads that will go, 2022 is going to be horrible unless you make some changes. It's going to be like 2020 or 2021 or 1939 or 1918 or whatever if you don't get off your ass and do something today and take all the... I'm here to tell you that there's good news. It's good news. I mean, yes, that's true. And I could scare you too. I could talk about it. Things will remain the same until you decide to change them. But I don't want to have to scare you into doing that. I don't want to have to speak the obvious because you're not listening. I want to find the people who go, you know what? There is a better way. There's a more fun way. There's a delightful way. And I deserve it. I want it. I want to enjoy life more and to have a good time. And there are a lot of ways to part with your money, and people have found them all on the internet, it seems. But the thing is 2022 will be better hands down. Somebody would say, every year there's like 365 new opportunities. I go, every second there's a new opportunity. Every single second, every single day, there's a new opportunity, because it's within the decisions that you make or don't make. Dark shit or diamonds.
Shit or diamonds.
I can't wait to get to that part in the book.
That needs to be our next book, Dog Shit and Diamonds.
Yeah, there you go. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and we're going to collectively talk about the people that love to deal with the dog shit and the ones that are doing diamonds. The ones that come in and talk about their dog shits, and the ones that leave talking about their diamonds. There we go.
So how I always end my show, and how I usually wrap things up, is I say, if you think it's a blessing, it will be a blessing. And if you think it's not a blessing, it won't be a blessing. So consider everything a blessing, and it will be. And then celebrate everything.
I love it. I love it.
100%.
You guys, this has been an amazing show. I hope you guys all share it. And I hope you guys all get into the club. And any way I can help. Like I said, this is just amazing. I don't even think we did our intro to our show today. I don't know, whatever. I don't care. I just know that I'm just thankful that we're all here. And thank you for helping me surprise Brian. And
hey, Brian surprised me. I could only return the favors, but unlike I did not anticipate talking so much, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Rex, we love it. We love it. I think my audience loved it too. So you guys, thank you so much. Please share this out, and know that I am just grateful that you guys have been watching and had so many kind things to say here. I know Rex will go back and he'll probably say comments and things like this too. And we'll put the link for his book on there if you didn't go to his site. It's rexsikes.com.
Right there under my name.
Yep,
Yeah,
there it is.
right.
And if they want to find out about the book, they just add a / and book, BOOK.
Oh yeah, okay.
/ book.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and put that in the comments as well. So thank you, you guys. God bless, and we'll see you guys next Friday. And stay right
Everyone.
there, you